on the track, boy.
Off-White, once a streetwear brand that everybody wanted in their closet. From its iconic diagonal stripes to its unmistakable zip-tie tag, Off-White became synonymous with high fashion streetwear, and it broke boundaries between luxury and casual clothing. But how did this brand, once at the pinnacle of hype and culture, seemingly lose all its magic? They went from top of the list in the industry to basically dormant, almost overnight. Let's find out how. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the rise and fall of Off-White. But before we get started, please take a second to stop and hit that like button for me. Liking and sharing these videos is the only way to help us continue to grow as a channel. But with all that being said, let's jump right in. To fully understand Off-White, we need to start with its founder and creator, Virgil Abloh. You see, Virgil was more than just a designer. He was a cultural phenomenon, a visionary, who could bridge the worlds of streetwear, music, and high fashion. Born on September 30th, 1980 in Rockford, Illinois, Virgil Abloh grew up in a Ghanaian American family. His mother was a seamstress, which helped spark his early interest in design. Abloh's upbringing in the Chicago area immersed him in hip-hop, skate culture, and streetwear, all influences that would shape his creative vision for years to come. Despite his love for design though, Virgil initially pursued a different path. He studied civil engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and later earned a master's degree in architecture from Illinois Institute of Technology. But throughout all this, the fashion game just kept calling him. Virgil's breakthrough came in early 2000s when he met a young up-and-coming Kanye West. The two quickly became friends, and Abloh's first significant project was working as Jay's creative director, where he was instrumental in shaping the visual identity of his early tour merch and album covers. In 2009, Kanye had just closed a partnership with Louis Vuitton, and the creative team traveled to Paris for Fashion Week. They were all photographed in the now infamous group shot outside the Comme des Garçons show. In 2010, during the golden era of the streetwear movement, social media platforms like Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter were exploding in popularity, creating a new digital space for fashion to thrive. It was at this time that Virgil teamed up with friends Heron Preston, Matthew Williams, and Justin Saunders to create Trill. Each of these founders had unique backgrounds in design, music, and art, but they shared a common goal: to create something that felt authentic to their cultural experiences and that tapped into the zeitgeist of the time. But they never really intended Trill to be an actual thing, you know? They really just kind of planned on it being more so like an inside joke. However, though initially started as a side project, it quickly gained momentum due to its timely looks and distinctive approach to fashion. Long story short, it wound up exploding with fans and becoming a whole vibe, being carried nationally in stores like PacSun. Eventually though, all involved went their separate ways professionally and launched their own separate projects. But having been bit by the fashion bug now, in 2012, Virgil founded Pyrex Vision, a brand that repurposed and reimagined dead stock Ralph Lauren flannels with bold prints. Much of what Pyrex was took cues from Trill, only in a slightly more refined way. Point is, you can see the progression. We did a video on Trill in the early days, back before production was what it is today, and I might have to do a rework on it at some point because it was a pretty interesting story. But anyway, this experiment was yet another stepping stone for something much bigger, a brand that would eventually cement Virgil's legacy in the fashion world. And in 2013, Abloh founded Off-White, a brand that took elements from both Trill and Pyrex and combined them with higher quality materials and unique design cuts. Off-White was to be Virgil's first salvo into the fashion world, his ultimate vision. Virgil described the brand as, quote, the gray area between black and white, hence the term Off-White. It was his way of challenging the traditional norms in the fashion industry and creating a dialogue between urban culture and luxury. Having the ear of, at the time, one of rap's biggest artists certainly helped Abloh early on. Thanks to the influence of Ye, Virgil managed to collaborate with tons of huge brands such as Levi's, IKEA, and Mercedes-Benz. But without a shadow of a doubt, the collaboration that put Off-White on the global map was the Nike deal. Virgil reinvented 10 different classic Nike silhouettes, making them his own. The 10 project included iconic designs like the Air Max, the Air Jordan, Blazer, the Chuck Taylor, who, yes, is now under the Nike umbrella, and the Vapor Max. The collection deconstructed Nike silhouettes, giving them a raw, unfinished look, and added Off-White's now signature zip tie, a look that will come to define the brand. It wasn't just about sneakers though, it was about creating pieces of wearable art. The hype was definitely real and demand for Off-White skyrocketed. Celebrities wore it, influencers promoted it, and suddenly everyone wanted a piece of this high fashion streetwear. The brand's industrial aesthetic, complete with quotation mark branding and diagonal lines, became instantly recognizable. Off-White was more than just a clothing brand. It had become a status symbol. The Nike deal made Virgil a hot commodity in the fashion game, and in 2018, he was named artistic director of the men's line at Louis Vuitton. This was a game changer, not only for Abloh himself, but also for Off-White. The brand's association with luxury fashion had now been solidified. Abloh's dual role with Off-White and Louis Vuitton allowed him to shape both streetwear and luxury fashion simultaneously. Off-White's influence reached far beyond just fashion. It had become a cultural phenomenon that spoke to the new generation of consumers who saw no boundaries between luxury and streetwear. A far cry from the days of luxury houses shunning streetwear brands as some, quote, ghetto fad. Virgil's debut show for Louis Vuitton was a celebration of diversity, showcasing an array of models from different backgrounds walking down the runway. It wasn't just a fashion show though, it came out more like a cultural statement. Abloh brought his streetwear sensibilities to the world of luxury, reinterpreting the brand's heritage with modern touches like graffiti motifs, bold prints, and sportswear-inspired designs. His collections resonated with the new generation of consumers eager for a fresh approach to luxury wear. But as quickly as Off-White rose, cracks began to show in the brand. Many questioned if the brand's designs had become a little too predictable. The zip ties, the quotation marks, and the diagonal stripes were all of a sudden no longer fresh. They were now everywhere, and that was part of the problem. The brand's once exclusive feel began to dilute as Off-White products flooded the market. Critics argued that Off-White was riding on hype more so rather than innovation at this point in time. And while Virgil's success at Louis Vuitton was impressive, it also meant that his attentions were now divided. Streetwear's landscape was also changing. The luxury streetwear market was becoming saturated with brands that offered similar aesthetics, and new players were stepping in with fresh new takes. Off-White's visual language became so widely imitated that it further lost its impact. Not to mention, trends were also shifting away from logo-heavy designs and toward more minimalist and sustainable fashion. And then, in 2021, Virgil Abloh sadly and suddenly passed away at the young age of 41. Little did anyone know, he had been secretly fighting a battle against cancer. His death left a massive void, not just in fashion, but in the cultural landscape at large. As for Off-White, this was a catalyst moment. The brand's identity was so closely tied to Virgil's vision that it became unclear what direction they would take with him gone now. And since Virgil's passing, though Off-White has continued releasing collections and collaborations, the spark is all but gone. With Abloh's visionary presence no longer there, the brand faces the challenge of redefining itself in a rapidly changing fashion world. Now, many had argued that Off-White was on the downturn even before Virgil died, whether due to Abloh's divided attentions after joining Louis Vuitton or because of the natural migration of trends. All I know is one thing is for certain. Had Virgil not passed, he certainly had the creativity to completely recreate Off-White, bringing it into the future. But now, in the hands of the suits, it seems highly unlikely that they'll do anything other than run back the old hits until they don't hit no more. But what do you think? Do you think Off-White can survive as a post-Virgil brand? Or do you think it's a wrap? Hit us up in the comments and let us know. And if you made it all the way through this video and you enjoyed what you saw, then please hit that like button. Liking and sharing these videos is the only way to get the YouTube algorithms to notice us and help our channel continue to grow. And if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new video, because yes, this is a series, then hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That way you will be reminded when every new episode drops. But with that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.